Alright, we're going to learn how to use the wash module on the Biotek El-406. It has manifolds that are capable of either aspirating or aspirating and dispensing for washing plates. For example, if you wanted to change media on your cells, if you wanted to wash unbound dye or antibodies away from your sample. This could be a cell sample, it could be ELISA or something like that. Those kinds of aspirating steps get done with the wash module. So I'm just going to start by putting my plate in the plate holder, and I'm making sure that A1 is in the top left, and there's a little reminder sticker. For the washing, it's not that essential because I'm going to be washing the whole plate, so technically if it was upside down, it would all get washed just the same. But just in case there's ever a problem, like one of the ports got clogged, then you would be able to see, oh, it was, you know, H4 or whatever that needed clogging. So it always helps just to have the plate in the right orientation regardless. So we're going to turn the device on in the back. And then if you were going to be using the stacker so that you could wash multiple plates in a big stack, then you would turn that on after this was done initializing. But we're going to be just using one plate today. You log in on the computer with your cruise ID. We're going to be using the liquid handling control software. And I just want to make sure that it knows which manifold has been loaded. So we're going to go Tools, Instrument Utilities, and this time we're going to the washer. Under the manifold selection, these are your options. We own 3 of these. We have the manifold that has 96 tubes. It's capable of doing 96 or 384 well plates. That one we call the dual manifold. We also have a 192 tube manifold that can do 384 well plates. It's going to be twice as fast than if you use the 96 tube to wash the same 384 well plate. And then we also have a 128 tube for the 1536 well plates. The first 2 that I mentioned are capable of aspirating and dispensing, but the 128 tube is only capable of aspirating. For the 96 and the 192 tube, you're only able to dispense the same liquid across the whole plate, or in the case of the 96 tube, if you had a 384 well plate, you could select a quadrant. And for the 192 tube, the plate is divided into 2 sections, so you could, you know, do half of the plate with one strategy and half with another. Otherwise, everything is getting the same liquid. So we're doing the 192 tube, and you can send, OK, exit, and then you go to settings, get. OK. Now we're ready to use that manifold. We want to open a software, open a protocol. I don't want to save the previous protocol I was using. We're going to go to my demos folder to find a 384 well washing protocol. Let's see, let's pick something recent. 384 wash dispense. I'll just pick one of these. So this was a protocol that had dispensing and then washing, but I've actually already done the dispensing part. So I'm going to first delete the steps that I don't need. Those are all the ones with the S. That's the syringe pump. In this protocol, I was using that to dispense 30 microliters of liquid into the plates. This protocol is also using the BioStack, so I'm going to delete those. We're not going to use the BioStack today. You can also uncheck the box over there, you know, to say that there's no BioStack needed. We don't need these weight steps. Alright, so the sequence is going to go like this. There's a wash module getting primed, That's just to fill the lines with water. Buffer A is always water. Buffer B is always phosphate buffered saline, phosphate buffered saline, PBS. And then buffers C and D are can be whatever you want. And those are actually located under the device. These are the buffers. So this is position A that always has water. This is position B that always has PBS, and then C and D are back here, and you can put, I think we have bleach as one possibility for C, and then this is D. This is empty currently. These are all connected to what's called a buffer switching module in the back. That is what allows it to automatically draw up liquid from whichever tank you've programmed. So before you start washing a plate, you want to make sure that the bottle is full with whatever you need. If you're washing with water, or if you're washing with PBS, you're still going to be rinsing the manifold with water, so you need to make sure there's DI water in here. If you're washing like cells, for example, with PBS, then make sure that there's enough 1x PBS for what you need. Also check that there's room in the waste bottle. If this was getting to be 2/3 full, we would have to dump it down the sink and put a little bleach in there. If it goes past that, then some liquid will start accumulating in the secondary bottle, which has a sensor, and if it detects any liquid in there, then your protocol stops, and it forces you to resolve that and start all over again. So you want to avoid that. All right, and so this is the 172 tube wash module that we're going to be using. There's a separate video for how to load the different wash modules. This is the default one that should always be left on the instrument in between use. So if you change it, then you have to change it back before you're done. All right, so we're gonna hit run, and you'll notice that the plate that we loaded has green dye in it. That's what we're gonna watch getting washed away. So first it's gonna prime the wash module with water. And it's not just dispensing air into the plate. Here's our plate. Ta-da! It no longer has the green dye. It has been washed away. And I also want to point out on the software, Oh, I can stop this. It's gonna be washing. I didn't delete those steps. So I also want to point out, when you have your wash step, there's some advanced options here. This is where you can change how many cycles are going to be run. You can set how fast you want the aspirating to go. CW stands for cell wash. That's a little bit more gentle. You can also set for the dispensing, you know, what volume of liquid. You definitely want the liquid to be greater than what you're washing away. And you can set the flow rate, again, depending on what your sample is. There's advanced options that include the exact positioning of where the aspirating and where the dispensing is going to be occurring. And then at the bottom is the key step about the final aspirate. That will determine whether or not your plate is dry when you're done, or does it have the dispensed liquid in it. And you know, for that you can also set those same kinds of advanced settings. So I want to finish this training with a cleaning of the wash module, so I'm just gonna quickly modify the protocol to include a wash sequence. So we're gonna prime the wash module, then we're going to use this auto clean step that actually uses the sonicator to clean the wash module. And you want to do it with water, that's buffer A, and you can say for how long we want it to go. We'll just do 1 minute for the purposes of the training, but actually at least 10 minutes every time you use it is recommended. And then after it's done cleaning, it will do one more flush with water, so that if there were any particles that were dislodged during the sonicating, then they would get flushed out. And then at the end there's a submerge tips, and you're welcome to turn the device off while the tips are submerged. That's ideal. But if you wait, in this case it's programmed to do it for 5 minutes, greater than 5 minutes, then the tips will come back up, and they'll just be in air, which is also okay. So yeah, let's run this just to clean our manifold. No, don't want to save it though. Okay. So this is just for, you know, if there was any of that green dye left in the system. But if you were washing cells, for example, you want to make sure it's washed really well, so that there were no cells that were going to get stuck in there. They can actually clog the little tubes, and that's the main problem that this type of device can encounter. So that was the prime. Now it's the sonicating. You can probably hear that sound. It's like a high-pitched. That's the sonicator. Now just turned off. So if you heard that, that was the sonicator. I think it's going to turn on and off for the next minute. So I guess while we're waiting, you know, you can take your supplies back with you that you brought, clean up if there's liquid around, you know, you can wipe the area and prepare it for the next person. And yeah, I think that's, if you did use a different manifold, then remember to put the 172 manifold back on. Submerged tips, where it's just going to put them in water. So it's dispensing some water into the reservoir, and then it's just soaking the tips down in there. And so this is actually a great position to leave it in, so I turn it off during this step. Just turn it off in the back. It will say error, you know, it stopped running. but that is okay. We did that on purpose in this case, so that they could soak in water. That's, you know, gonna help remove any debris from inside. And so we're done. We can close the software. No, I didn't want to save that. Click on the Windows and the person icon and say sign out. And that's all you need to know about washing a 384 well plate with the 172 tube manifold on the Biotek El-406.